What I have no clue about is what it would have been like for Joseph. So I'm asking you to put on your imaginations and think for a second, how would you feel if the woman to whom you were engaged told you that she was pregnant? Are you crazy?
Shock.
Well, it says it would be okay.
Shock. Betrayal.
Betrayal? I think what? I think you heard something back there. Are you sure? That sounds like a contemporary thing to turn blue or pink, right? Fear? You're not a man. Sorry. This is for the gentlemen right now. We'll talk about the ladies on Christmas Eve. All right, gentlemen, anything else?
What would people think?
What will people think? Embarrassment? Embarrassment? Okay. A variety of feelings. A variety of feelings. And all of those feelings have to do with Joseph. It's all about Joseph. Okay. Now, it seems to me, and it's implied in the gospel, that there was some time between when Joseph got this news and when he decided that he was going to take Mary as his wife, when he had the dream. When he had the dream. Now, if you remember, dreams are a more common way for God to communicate with his people. All the way through the Old Testament, we hear about dreams, particularly from Joseph, the one with the many-colored cloak. And these dreams were clear to them about what God wanted from the person who dreamed. Now, these days, we generally don't take our dreams seriously. We don't treat them as if they have something to tell us. We don't treat them as if there may be a message from God in there. And so it might be, a little odd for Joseph to have been heard from the angel of God in that way, right? So, but nonetheless, Joseph had a dream. After the dream, it implies that Joseph got up one morning and the next morning and said, "Okay, Mary, come to my house." Right? Do you think it really happened that fast? Do you think it really happened that fast? How might he have reacted once he had the dream? Anybody?
He's a man. How does he fix it?
He's a man. How does he fix it? Okay? God's given him an idea about that, right? Okay? My suspicion is that it took a few days for him to come to grips with the message that he had gotten from the angel. Joseph is a model for us for the process that we call discernment. We've all had times when something in life has brought us up short. May have been a good thing, may have not been such a great thing, and it can come from anywhere. It can be the loss of a job. It can be an illness. It could be a car accident. It could be losing your house and finding yourself to be homeless along with your family. And the immediate thing that we do is panic, get scared. Those are our reactions. The things that happen to us right away after the event are ways in which we react to something. And when we make decisions out of reaction, out of fear or out of anger or out of panic, out of anxiety, sometimes our reaction can get us into more trouble. Become an extension of that thing that happened. But if we take a little more time, if we take a break and try to sort out other possibilities maybe of how to fix it, of getting a perspective of what this might have been like for Mary, to take some time to think and to breathe and to sort things out, to have, in the case of Joseph, to have that dream and decide what he's going to do next. That's a response. That's a response. It's not a reaction. You buy time after your immediate knee-jerk. Take time to think it through. Now, in this story, God comes to Joseph in a dream. How else does God come to us? Think about your life and big things that have happened to you. How has God come to you in the process of sorting out what you're going to do next? What's coming?
Through each other.
I'm sorry?
Each other.
Each other. God comes to us in each other, often in our conversations. If you've lost a job, and we know this has happened in our population, that most folks who are finding their jobs these days are doing it because they know people, they're making networking connections, and that gives them a way in the door. So we hear God in each other. How else do we hear or see God in a time of discernment? What we read? What in anything particular?
No, actually. I mean, usually books of the Bible or also other spiritual books.
Okay, books on the Bible, other spiritual books, but it can be in almost anything, can't it? I've heard God say a couple things to me in reading a novel or listening to a book on tape, and I'm sure that you have as well. How else does God come to us? Just a feeling. We can't put a label on it, but the Spirit moves us in some way or opens us up, opens our hearts to hear something we haven't heard before. Prayer, taking time to be quiet, which is not something we do easily. So there's a variety of ways in which Christ, the Spirit, comes to us and helps us sort out what we may be able to do next. Sometimes God comes to us when a door closes. God comes to us in an open window. We see a new way forward. Our parish is doing this discernment right now. Leadership is, and we're inviting the rest of you into that as we look at new and different ways to make our presence in the community known. One of those things that we're putting out there is inviting everyone to invite someone to come with you. Now that's something that for many people is a real challenge, because what will other people think? Is this something that I can do? Do you have a mental picture in your head that means you need to go and stand on a street corner and wave a Bible? We're not going to do that. We're Episcopalians. We're quieter in general when it comes to talking about our faith, when it comes to sharing, being present to other people, and maybe being the voice of the Spirit to them. Discernment is important. Joseph took time to discern. He started thinking about Mary. He determined that he was going to put her away quietly. That was the solution he had come to. But God had a different way. God had something different in mind. And the reason Joseph was thinking he was going to put her away was because how are betrothals made? How are those relationships made? What was the status of women in Jesus' time? They had none. They were, chattel. Parents would make, it was a contract. Parents would make a contract. The woman would move from her home and her parents over to her betrothed's home, and a dowry would be paid. And in a situation like Joseph found himself, his honor was also being besmirched. What would people think? They thought maybe that we had marital relations before the contract was sealed. God showed Joseph that it was possible to find another way and to live another way and to know that God was part of the way, was showing him the way. Now on Tuesday night we're going to hear a totally different story of how Jesus was born. But this story is about the man who did not know what to do. The man who was reacting and thinking it's all about me. But also took the time to think and reflect and open his heart to what it was that God may call him to do. May we do the same. When life challenges us and brings us up short, when a door closes and we're waiting for something else to open, let us react. Of course, we're going to have feelings about those situations. We're going to may seem desperate or not depressed or whatever things go with that. But take time